North Korea doesn't want you to see this. A colossal structure stands towering above Pyongyang's skyline, an eerie reminder of a dictator's ambition and one of the most bizarre secrets the world has ever seen. Imagine a 1,000-foot tall, 105-story pyramid made of cold, unfinished concrete, looming over one of the world's most secretive nations. For over 30 years, this monstrous building, what some call the Hotel of Doom, has remained a ghostly capsule haunting the capital of North Korea. But what is the real story behind this massive pyramid? Why has this grand structure, one that was once touted to be the tallest hotel in the world, never opened its doors? What if this is not just an unfinished hotel, but something far more evil? Is it an engineering failure, or a symbol of the North Korea's dark and dystopian dreams? For over 3 decades, the Ryugyong Hotel has stood there, empty and silent, like a dark monument to Kim Jong-il's regime. It's not just an unfinished hotel, it's a symbol of North Korea's decaying empire. And they don't want the world to know the truth behind its walls. There's something about North Korea that feels like a page out of a terrifying novel. From mass military parades to absolute control over information, the regime has crafted an image of itself that is shrouded in secrecy. But no symbol of this secrecy stands taller or more ominous than the Ryugyong Hotel, a bizarre 105-story pyramid that looms like a giant shadow over Pyongyang's skyline. What was once envisioned as a grand hotel, a symbol of power and prestige, has now become a haunted monolith, a crumbling reminder of the country's failed ambitions. It's been called the Hotel of Doom, a name that perfectly matches its haunting history. For over 30 years, this structure has remained unfinished, unused, and almost forgotten by the world. But in reality, it's far from forgotten in North Korea. It's just that they don't want you to talk about it. What was supposed to be an example of North Korean supremacy has instead become a monument to failure, or something far more mysterious. What if this hotel is more than just an architectural nightmare? Could there be something more sinister lurking within those concrete walls? A dark secret that North Korea has managed to hide from the world for so long? Today, we uncover the layers of mystery surrounding the Ryugyong Hotel, diving deep into its troubled history, its failures, and the wild speculations about what really lies inside this monument to madness. To understand the bizarre history of the Ryugyong Hotel, we need to take a look back to the 1980s, when North Korea was still in the midst of its battle to prove itself as a global superpower. The idea of the Ryugyong Hotel was born out of a need to impress. It was the era of the Cold War, and North Korea wanted to show the world, particularly its rival, South Korea, that it could compete on the global stage. The hotel's ambitious construction plan was announced in 1987 under the rule of Kim Jong-il. The North Korean government envisioned it as a symbol of national pride and prestige. The goal was simple: to build the tallest hotel in the world, a luxury destination for foreign visitors, diplomats, and businessmen. With 3,000 rooms, several rotating restaurants, and grand ballrooms, it was meant to showcase the technological advancement and opulence of North Korea. But from the very start, this grand vision was doomed. The vision for the Ryugyong Hotel was grand, but the reality of building it quickly turned into a nightmare, one that would drag on for decades. In 1987, construction of the 105-story pyramid began with a bold promise. It would become the tallest hotel in the world, putting North Korea on the map as a global tourism hub. The hotel was to stand at a staggering height of 330 meters, with 3,000 rooms, 5 revolving restaurants, and facilities that would accommodate international visitors and diplomats. At a time when North Korea's economy was already under strain, the cost of building this massive structure was estimated to be around $750 million, a mind-boggling figure for a country with limited resources. But from the very beginning, the project faced massive hurdles. First, the construction was disturbed with poor planning and inefficient execution. The country's isolation meant that North Korea lacked access to modern construction techniques, advanced materials, and the expertise needed for such an ambitious undertaking. The materials they did have were subpar by international standards, leading to structural issues that would later plague the building. The foundation of the hotel was flawed from the start, with engineers cutting corners due to budget constraints and lack of experience. The workforce, while dedicated, was undertrained and often lacked the proper tools to carry out the complex construction tasks. Then came the economic crisis of the early 1990s. The collapse of the Soviet Union, North Korea's biggest supporter, left the country half dead. Funds that had once been allocated for the hotel were now needed to feed the starving population and keep the North Korea's corrupt afloat. By 1992, the project was halted entirely, with the hotel only about 70% complete. What was supposed to be a symbol of grandeur turned into a monolithic failure. The once ambitious Ryugyong Hotel now stood as a giant, unfinished concrete skeleton towering over Pyongyang as a reminder of the nation's broken dreams. For nearly 2 decades, the hotel remained in this half-completed state, its towering, lifeless structure casting a long shadow over the capital. Pyongyang's residents learned to ignore it, but its presence was inescapable. There were rumors that the authorities wanted to demolish the building, but such a task would require massive resources, and North Korea simply couldn't afford it. The Hotel of Doom stood frozen in time, becoming a cruel testament to North Korea's failed ambitions. There are many reasons why the Ryugyong Hotel was never completed, but the official explanation is simple: financial difficulties. However, many believe that the real reasons are much more complicated or even a dark secret. First and foremost, the hotel's design itself was problematic. The pyramidal shape, while unique and imposing, presented numerous architectural challenges. Experts from outside North Korea have since stated that the pyramid structure made it incredibly difficult to ensure the building's stability, particularly in a country that lacked the technological advancements of the West. The concrete used was of low quality, resulting in a building that was structurally unsound. Engineers feared that finishing the hotel would be not just costly, but dangerous. The very core of the building was fragile, and many feared that it could collapse under its own weight if ever fully completed. But structural issues were just the beginning of this long and baffling history. As North Korea's economy strumbled in the early 1990s, foreign investment in the project became impossible. There was talk of bringing in international hotel chains like Hyatt or Hilton to fund the completion of the Ryugyong Hotel, but North Korea's isolationist policies and deep distrust of foreign powers made such partnerships virtually impossible. In the late 2000s, a hope appeared when an Egyptian telecommunications company, Orascom, signed a deal with the North Korean government to modernize the country's infrastructure. As part of the deal, Orascom took on the task of completing the hotel's exterior. For the first time in over a decade, work resumed on the Ryugyong Hotel. By 2011, the building's glass front was finally completed, covering up its bare concrete skeleton. For a moment, it seemed like the hotel might finally open its doors, but inside, things were still as they had been since the early 1990s, unfinished, bare, and utterly inoperable. The interior floors remained a mix of exposed concrete, empty spaces, and non-functional infrastructure. Electrical wiring hadn't been installed, plumbing systems were non-existent, and there was no proper plan in place to turn the hotel into a functional business. Moreover, rumors began circulating that Kim Jong-un, who had taken power after the death of his father, Kim Jong-il, had no interest in the project. To him, the hotel was a relic of his father's era, an era marked by grand failures and unrealized ambitions. It wasn't just about finishing a building, it was about what the hotel symbolized. To open it would be to acknowledge the cruel government's failures over the past 3 decades. Another possible explanation is that the hotel's purpose shifted. There are many conspiracy theories about what lies inside the Ryugyong Hotel. Some say that it was never meant to be a hotel at all, but a government facility for spying or even a military base. The strategic location of the hotel, right in the heart of Pyongyang, has led many to believe that it was designed as a central command center for the government in times of crisis. Others speculate that the upper floors of the hotel are being used to store weapons or even serve as missile launch sites. The North Korean regime is notoriously secretive about its military operations, and the hotel's imposing size and isolation make it the perfect place to hide something more eerily and cruel. Could it be that the Ryugyong Hotel is not a failure at all, but a front for something much darker? Today, the Ryugyong Hotel stands as a symbol of North Korea's isolation and failure. What was once supposed to be an example of progress is now a haunting reminder of the fake and broken promises. The hotel has been removed from official maps, and the North Korean government rarely speaks about it. Yet, despite this, the Ryugyong Hotel continues to fascinate and scare people around the world. Its ominous presence looms over Pyongyang, a symbol of ambition gone wrong, or perhaps something much more evil that the world has yet to discover. The Ryugyong Hotel may never be completed, and its true purpose may never be fully revealed. But one thing is certain: this 30-year-old monument is more than just an unfinished hotel. It's a mystery, a dark secret, and a symbol of a regime that thrives on secrecy and control. As the world continues to watch North Korea from afar, the Ryugyong Hotel stands as a silent witness to the failures and mysteries of one of the world's most isolated nations. Perhaps one day, we will know the full truth behind this colossal structure, but for now, it remains a ghost. If the mysterious tale of North Korea's unfinished Ryugyong Hotel has left you questioning, there's so much more to uncover. Subscribe to FactHub, where we dive deep into the world's most baffling secrets, unsolved mysteries, and hidden truths lurking in the shadows. From creepy landmarks like the Ryugyong Hotel to historical conspiracies and real-life curiosities, we explore the dark corners of the unknown. Don't forget to hit the bell icon so you never miss an episode, because in a world full of secrets, you never know what might be hiding just out of sight.